So in today's video, what we're going to do is talk about the best RTKs to go and invest in when they get panic sold. So just before the video does start, a quick little ad on a trading service I offer over on Twitch for the cheapest trading guides out there for just £4, €4, all free with Amazon Prime. You'll receive daily trading and investing guides covering PlayStation, Xbox and PC with an array of methods covering all budgets. And I've been trading for over 10 years, making over 100 million in multiple different FIFAs, and now for the last 4 years I've made 10 million coins in just the first month. So just before we do start talking about when to go and buy the RTKs, we'll just start talking about selling them if you already own them, just because you do need to be quite careful. Now the reason you need to be quite careful with the likes of RTKs is if a team is likely to beat a team and then doesn't beat that team, there's a fair bit of money to be lost. If a team is 50% likely to beat a team and they don't beat the team, there is money to be lost. And again, if a team at the moment is very ropey and unlikely to qualify, they're going to go down if they're going to lose. Now, they're going to rebound if they can still get 2 wins. So even if, presuming they don't have insanely hard games at the end, but again, we're not going to cover those sort of players today. But if you want my advice on when to sell these players, I'd recommend selling them either around about 12 to 3 PM the day they play. The reason you don't wait too late is because there's a lot of people sitting in the same boat in terms of they pre-bought RTKs, but they don't want to gamble on them winning. Or what you can do is even the Europa Leagues and the Conference League guys, you can go and sell them on the Tuesday midday to 3 PM. Now the reason for that is 2 reasons. One, if we see significantly big drops on the RTKs from the Tuesday, I think you'll see a lot more people panic selling stuff going into the Wednesday and Thursday, and therefore if you sell on Tuesday, you don't have to worry about people seeing cards get panic sold day one, or people who play with day one and then drop. And the other chance of that is I think the market is just going to drop from Tuesday through to Friday, just because of the upcoming Centurion. RTKs so far have had really good money in them, and what we're going to do today is we're going to explain how there can be even better money in them investing in these cards this weekend. So last year there was basically a few really nice trends about teams that hadn't completed their 2 wins midweek this week. Now if you guys don't know, the RTKs have already played 1 game, and those that won their first game, if they win their second game, they're going to go and receive an upgrade this weekend. Well, some teams either didn't win their first game, or they're not going to go and win their second game. Now, if they didn't go and win their first game, or didn't win their second game, they're not going to get upgraded this week, but when they are going to get upgraded is in a week or two's time, when they go and play on, if I can go and grab it for you, when they go and play on the 7th of November. So there's an investing opportunity to go and pick them up this Saturday and Sunday when the cards get panic sold, and then go and go and sell them before their next game. A great example of this is the likes of Odegaard, when last year Arsenal went and played against, I think it was like PSV. They lost versus PSV. He went from 121 down to 96. But the next game they played was Zurich, who they're heavily favoured to beat, who then up from 96 to 117 in about 4 days. So basically we buy them this weekend and we sell them before their next game. So the first player that this goes and applies to is the likes of Openda. So, Openda doesn't have his first win yet because, of course, the wins only count as the last game. This weekend they go and play Kreven Zavezuva, and they are likely to beat them, but then because they're likely to beat them, he'll still get panic sold, and he'll go down to this Saturday and Sunday, and then he'll rise for about a week and a half from this Saturday and Sunday going into their next game. And because they're likely to beat them in the first game, you should then get nice hype going into the second game, and again, if they go and beat them on the second game, he'll then go and receive an upgrade. So again, we're going to go and buy these players Saturday, Sunday with the panic selling, and then go and sell them in a week and a half for the likes of their next Champions League game. So what I've also just realised is it's a double banker. So basically, whatever teams they play this week, they play next week. But we do move on to the next one, which is the likes of Wifia. Now, Wifia does not have his first win because they lost against the likes of Atletico. But if they go and beat Lazio, that'll be the first tick on his check mark. And again, if you win your first game, there's at least going to be a bit of hype around you winning your next game. So he would then again go down a little bit this weekend and then go and start picking up towards their next game versus Lazio in just under 2 weeks' time. We then move on to the likes of DePaul and Atletico. Now, Atletico won their first game against Feyenoord. Now, if they don't go and beat the likes of Celtic, I'd be very surprised, especially if they can get a draw. He'll go down again this weekend and then should go and pick up going into their next game, because unless for some weird reason they get smashed, and even if they get smashed, I'd be very surprised if there isn't going to be pre-hype about them beating Celtic the next game with how favourable they would be so. So again, DePaul, presuming they lose the game. If they win their game, he's going to get the upgrade for 2 wins. But if they lose or draw, then he's still going to be up for an upgrade, well, in 2 weeks' time. So he drops this weekend and then rises for 2 weeks. So another outcome that'd be very surprising, but if the likes of Fenerbahce don't go and beat Ludogorets, then he will go down this weekend. And then what will happen is he'll rise going into their next game. Because again, they are very favourable to beat these teams, but there is the outside chance they draw or lose to them, meaning they don't get the upgrade. People panic sell this weekend, and then they go and rise the following week. Now moving on to the likes of Diaz. Of course, Liverpool play against Toulouse. If they don't go and beat Toulouse this time, again, they draw or lose. He'll go down this weekend and then pick up into the next game because they are very favourable to beat them. Very plebby play here, but still should work. Pedro Goncalves, again, they go and play against Racal. If they go and beat Racal this week, or during the week, he'll then drop on the weekend, and then you can go and sell him against the second game against the likes of Racal, which again is another 2-week hold. We'll then move to everyone's favourite player of Dodo. Again, if they go and lose against this team, they'll drop this weekend, but they'll be favourite to beat them next week, and then he'll go and rise again. And the last player from Team 1 is Saldilia. Again, if they go and beat the likes of TSC, should go and drop on this weekend, and then rise 2 weeks after that. Now, if you're wondering why on earth do these players drop, even if they win, a lot of these guys are very, very favourable to beat their teams, which means if you're very favourable to beat your team, everyone's kind of made the highly likely investment, and then the highly likely investment, you know, they win like they expected to, and then everyone goes and panic sells their cards because of how inflated these cards have become in like the last week. So that's why we're not too surprised, or we're not surprised when these cards go down on the weekend because of how over-invested they are, because of how likely to get the next win. But then the next win doesn't actually make any impact on if the card gets upgraded this week. It's all to do with the following week. And for whatever god unknown reason, if the likes of Bayern Munich do go and lose to the likes of Shakhtar, again, he'll drop this weekend, but he'll rise going into the following. Down to the likes of RR. Now, if Roma, for some reason, do draw or lose to Slavia Prague, I still imagine there'll be some pretty good hype going into their next game. So again, you're going to go and buy them on the Saturday, Sunday, if they do lose to Slavia Prague. Down to Di Maria. Now, should Benfica get the win over Real Sociedad, which I'm not too sure how likely, we should see a good rise for Di Maria going into the second game. Not because Benfica are overly favourite to go and beat them, I guess, on paper, but the likes of Di Maria is such a popular card, there'll be good hype going into the next game of road to the knockout stages. Now onto a nice cheap player of Pepe. Now, if Porto go and beat Royal Antwerp, which again should be of no surprise, then of course they'll go and play them in 2 weeks' time, which he should rise in the pre-hype of. Now, if for some unknown reason Real Madrid go and lose to Braga, we should see a little bit of a drop on Modric this weekend, but again they'd be favoured to go and beat Braga the following week. Again, very unlikely outcome, but if we do see the likes of Real Madrid get beaten by Braga, drop a little bit over the weekend and then rise nicely going into the next game. Now on to the likes of Marseille. If the likes of Marseille go and beat AEK, again a little bit of a drop over the weekend, but a nice rise going into 2 weeks' time of the likes of Jolas and Klaus. And honestly, I don't really see there being great demand on these Europa League cards, just because the cards are a little bit meh and boring. And both the Women WSL cards have been knocked out. So that wraps up a lot of research on the likes of the Champions League and Europa League cards and what best ones to go and buy. Again, your buy time's going to be Saturday and Sunday, and then you can go and hold for 2 weeks because they should rise in the hype of their next game. Thank you very much for watching. I might give you a follow-up video on Saturday and Sunday when I do go and maybe buy these cards, but thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video.